Hello, everyone. I'm here with Marvel's Avengers on the show. This is Shackcast episode 8. I'm Aaron Shack64. Today we're going to talk about Marvel's Avengers and why it needs to adapt. So first, we're going to start out with a look over here at the marketplace. We will have visuals for this up on YouTube. If you want to watch the podcast visually, you can do that, and you can kind of see what I'm talking about. But I will also do my best to describe what I'm looking at here as well. Looking here at the marketplace, today is January the 11th, 2021. So we have some stuff here that's available for about the next 2 days and 20 hours. Okay. Here is a Hulk Warlord outfit. This is a legendary outfit. These go for $14. And this is just a recolor of an existing outfit. Same with the Black Widow Provocateur. This is, once again, a legendary skin, and it's just a gray recolor of a pretty standard outfit that's in the game. The Captain America Fighting Spirit. This is also a legendary outfit. It's just a recolor. Granted, it looks good. It's like a recolor we haven't seen. It's lots of blue and dark gray and stuff. You know, it looks like they cut out the red and white. You know, this is sort of maybe a darker suit there. Looks pretty nice, but $14 for one costume. I think we have to talk about prices here in a minute. Kate Bishop's Swan Dive. This is an epic outfit. Epic outfits are less. Okay, so those are only 900 points. And then we have Thor's Odin's Pride, and this is also just a recolor that is also 900 points as an epic outfit. And then we have a rare outfit down here for Kate Bishop that is 700 points. So look at these. Playing on the PS5, the PS4 version on the PS5. So you can see that some have, unique patterns. Some are simply just color swaps, just different colors in different areas of an existing costume that's in the game. So none of this is new except for really the Kate Bishop stuff. A lot of that is new because she is a new character. Whereas a lot of the other skins are just there. So this is actually a color swap of the Captain America Ultimate Patriot costume, which is also a legendary one that goes for 1400. So the fighting spirit is literally just, they took out the red and the white, they put in some gray and blue, and there you go. Now it looks cool, but once again, I think that's an issue that we're going to get to in this conversation. And kind of the same with Black Widow. So she has this Saboteur outfit that's kind of blue, and then we've just basically done a little recolor there. And I own nearly all of Black Widow's outfits, and a lot of them are just recolors of 2 or 3 different outfits. Black Widow Dustwalker, that one looks cool. That's a legendary one. The Shade Strike over here. This one comes in several different colors: blue, gray, black, red. All sorts of different white. So yeah, this one's like, it looks cool, but it's like I also have like several different colors of that. And I play this game both the PS4 version on PS5 because we don't have next gen versions of the game yet. We have that, and then of course I play this on PC as well. So beyond that, while I talk, I'm gonna go ahead and load us in so I can just show you the skins I have. So first, and I'm phrasing this as constructively as I can. I'd like to continue doing that. I'm not here to be rude or overly critical in a sense where it feels unjustified. But the marketplace prices are way too high. $14 for a color swap of an existing costume. I think color swaps, recolors of existing costumes should be cheaper. They should be at a reasonable price point, or at a certain unlockable amount of currency in game, even, that, because it just feels like a gimmick. You just got to wait till next week until hopefully there's better content in the shop. So here's one of Black Widow's costumes. This is a color swap one of the one that we were looking at in the store. Um, so yeah, this one's called Dark Fang. There's Blood Moon. There's Silver Strike. Um, and then of course we were looking at this one, Shade Strike, in the store. So they often include different colors for different parts of the outfit. Sometimes it changes. Like with Black Widow, she tends to change her hair. So we have a lot of different hair colors available. And then for the Saboteur here, we've got that. So that one's in blue. And then you've got the Infiltrator. That's a color swap of that. I mean, it does look cool, but I'm trying to put aside like the fact that, hey, this looks cool. So the iconic outfit here, we have a couple color swaps of that. Literally 5 of them right there. And then we have things that they've done really well. So with this one that's titled The Gray Suit, they've given Black Widow a bit of a pixie haircut. So this is completely changed hairstyle here. And, the outfit is somewhat resemblant of these, Dark Fang, Blood Moon. If we look at these, for example, it does appear to be quite similar in some sense, but we're seeing different textures and different colors used, and we're seeing the collars is sort of popped there and zipped up all the way. And this is a really cool outfit. And so kind of the same thing happens with this tactical outfit that she wears in the game. You get color swapped versions of these by doing the challenge card, and then you can unlock some other costumes here. Like the Ranger, then there's several color swaps of this one as well. So I mean, it's good that you have all these options, and Fear itself. This is one of my favorite ones in the game, and it's only an epic one. And then you have several color swaps of this one, which is, and then this one, fairly simple idea here, different hairstyle, different clothes, a little more casual, but still, it's $14 for one. It's just not affordable, even for me. And I love this stuff. I come in, I buy a lot of this stuff, and I unlock a lot of it in the game as well. But it's just not sustainable, and especially for playing on 2 platforms. And it's just it's way too high of a price. If it was a reasonable price, like if it was like $8-10 or something, you could justify buying more costumes. I would buy more costumes. Like, look at the ones that we have available today in the marketplace. Okay, if I wanted all 3 of these, and let's say I do, okay, those are $14 each. So let's round it up to 15 for easy math. 15 plus 15 is 30, plus another 15 is 45. So roughly $45 tax, all that stuff factors in. Okay, well, I've got 3 skins and I've nearly bought the game again. See where I'm going here? Like, I would rather pay for expansions, and get cool stuff than pay such a high price. So you can see here with the rare outfits and the epic outfits, I think that would be a really good price. And maybe just, maybe have the legendaries at $10, or bring them down to where the epic or rare price is, and then drop the price of your epic and rare costumes. The nameplates are at a really good price. I think the emotes are at a fine price. The takedowns, those have been slashed in half since they did that half off sale once. And so that has been actually pretty affordable. And so I think I've pretty much purchased all the takedowns for all the different characters. And they've all been really cool. And I'm glad to have them, but at their price at launch, I don't know if they just didn't do any research, or if, a lot of people thought that was acceptable. It's just, and I'm not being crude here, but it's just not profitable. It's just not going to work. Even a diehard fan like me, I still waited for the sale because I was just like, no, this is unacceptable. I love these characters. Some of those moves look really cool. It keeps the game fresh when you're doing all these takedowns and you're getting lots of different ones, different variations, and you can enable and disable them. But yeah, it's just not worth it in the end. So uh, marketplace prices are too high. Uh, the newer content, if they have newer stuff, they can have it at somewhat higher prices, but it needs to be non-color swap stuff. It needs to be like the ones that we've seen in recent weeks that are like for example this one here, the gray suit that we talked about with the pixie cut here for um, Black Widow. This is a prime example of something where you could have charged more because it's drastically different. So if there are some that are like that, that makes sense. So moving on, recolor of existing costumes should be cheaper, or they should be unlockable using your in-game currency. Right? You have these two currencies. You've got the units that you used in the store. I'm sorry, units that you use in the store in the game when you talk to Chastity, and then the credits are the currency that you can buy with your credit card. Okay. Take down half price was a good move. So when they slashed the prices on everything, having sales in the marketplace is also a good idea. We've only seen it happen once, and we've actually seen the full cost of the game go down to half price a couple of times, and that's been really good. And that's also kind of with respect of what's going on with the game as to why its price is not holding as well as it as well as others might. Have sales, so don't be afraid to do that in the future. I mean, I really hope they will do that, and sort of when they do have sales, they should have more costumes available either immediately or over time. Last time they did it over like a week's time. They just rotated in new costumes every day, and you could log on and see, oh, okay, that was the one I wanted, and now it's half price. I can pick it up. So cool. A suggestion would be, have event costumes for the holidays. Have whatever, if there's nameplates or emotes, they're kind of Christmassy or Halloween or whatever, you want to throw it in. Do stuff like that in the future. A lot of these other games, there are games as a service, Destiny, the Division, all these other games being a prime example. They have their own events that tie into the game world for Halloween, for Christmas. They have snowball fights. They have, different emotes involving snowflakes and whatever. So, moving on from that, let's talk about the plans for the future of this game. New Game Plus. When's it gonna happen? Most games would have had that either already in the box or a few weeks after. We're several months out from Marvel's Avengers launch, and they had a lot of bugs to fix. They had over 1,000 bugs that they came in and fixed, and the game runs much more stably now. We still don't have the next gen consoles version of the game, which I think is a very weak spot. And we're experiencing the same thing with Cyberpunk. It's just not a good thing from a compatibility sense. Uh, so New Game Plus, we need to know when, and it needs to be soon because the story is really good. It's worth replaying. I keep telling people they're doubtful about whether they want to pick up the game because they've either read the reviews or they've seen the price drop and they know what to assume with that. Um, I tell them, hey, it's a great story. It's really worth playing. It's up there with all the other Marvel games that have been telling really cool and compelling stories, and this one just makes you feel like one of the Avengers. So New Game Plus needs to get in there. An estimated roadmap or calendar. I've understood their reluctance with wanting to have a roadmap for this game because oftentimes there are bugs to fix, things are in flux, content's not always coming out in time. But it's better to know that something's coming than to just indefinitely push everything back and not have any communication with the community. So, the war tables that they were having for a while as they led up to the game launch and briefly into the launch of the game, where they would talk about new characters and talk about new content in the game and stuff like that, and introduce you to different, things in the game, different modes, different characters, whatever it was that they wanted to show off. More of that is definitely needed, and it's been a bit on the dry side for that. Um, so having a roadmap, even if there are delays, even if you have to say, okay, we're going to push this back, just knowing that, okay, Black Panther is on the schedule for, March or April or something, and like Spider-Man's in June or July or something, give us a window there so that people don't just sell the game and just not play it again, or they uninstall it, or they just don't pick it up at all because they say, well, I heard that they're just not adding content, maybe the game's going to go under. So that's not good. Having a roadmap, no matter the game, it's good to know what's on the horizon. Okay, so challenge card extensions with new DLC. So uh, here I'm about 80% through with this one on Black Widow, and granted I'm a lot further as Cap. Um, Once you get to level 40 there, you're at the cap there, and you've unlocked, all these different resources, all these different nameplates, emotes, costumes, and such. And then you're probably pretty much at a brick wall there. So I would recommend sometime in the future, or with each DLC, maybe lengthen each character's challenge card. Give us new things to grind for, because this is actually a really fun feature in the game. I always check my challenge card when I log in, and then I go over here and I check my challenges, and I go, okay, which one of these can I do within the quickest amount of time, so I can maximize my playtime today, make some progress on my challenge card bit by bit, you know, go for skill points, any other story missions that I need to play. We can go right in and do those. So, challenge card extensions with new DLC. This would be cool to see with all characters. I noticed that they did say, like with Kate Bishop, with each new character, you will have to buy the challenge cards. That's fine. Perfectly fine. Had no problem doing that for Kate Bishop. I think her challenge card looks really cool. There's a lot of unique costumes for her, and she's been a great character so far. So, next thing, use the maps you already have. New York, Jersey City. You could even have things that only happen in certain areas. For instance, the airship and the spider bot battles only seem to happen in the foresty area there, or in the big desert area where they have all these open spaces. Why not throw in the airship somewhere in New York and do that airship battle? It's part of one of the villain sectors. Why not have those airship battles uh, show up in other places? And so, what I also wanted to mention with New York and Jersey City is that those are maps that are not as frequently used. So if we pan over here to the Eastern Seaboard and just look kind of in general, the Global Presence Iconic mission. This one had a unique area that I think was only used for that mission. Whereas, the Enter the Avengers. Okay, yeah, it's actually both of these. Yeah, Global Presence, and then of course there's this is like a revisit to that mission where you get better gear. Enter the Avengers uses like a different portion of the city, and then usually you'll have the other ones over there, but they're not available at the moment. And that's kind of another complaint I have, is that sometimes if you have missions you want to play here, or if I need to do grind 10 drop zones or something, and all of a sudden the map only has like one drop zone across all the different maps in the game, that's a bit of a weak spot. So I would rather have tons and tons of little icons like this and be overwhelmed and have to cycle through them, than to have to, play the game and wait for events that I need to do or I want to do. You know, the best thing would be to showcase all the content that's in the game. There shouldn't be areas like this where it's like, oh, there's only one mission because we haven't rotated anything else in. When you're logging in with your friends, you don't want to log in and be like, all right, let's play some Marvel's Avengers together. And then boom, you just see the same missions that you've already done. And you don't even see all the missions that you would like to do. Okay, different times of day is another thing that could be utilized in a lot of the different maps. Oftentimes, that can add a lot of variety. I've already noticed that there's certain maps you'll start in different areas. You'll play through a sequence backwards. That's a good way to recycle content. I've seen Destiny do it, and whether we like it or not, it is effective. Um, Boss fights, I think, need to be more like the single player. The Taskmaster boss fight, the Abomination boss fight that was in the single player campaign, those are really solid, really well structured fights. But for some reason, when we fight those same enemies in multiplayer, it just becomes a bunch of AoE attacks and attacks that instantly zap all your health, and it just becomes you all just run up on them and you all just start punching, and it just looks stupid. It doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel cinematic. It doesn't, and I understand you have to structure that differently, since this is a co-op experience. Typically, when people are playing that mission, you have to make it work for four players to be fighting the same enemy. But I just don't see it working, and I really just don't even play the villain sectors when I see that Taskmaster or Abomination are there. The airships I think are really fun, and I can do them whether I'm by myself or with friends, and I think that one's actually pretty fun. Okay, so moving on. More and better villain sectors, something akin to Nightfall Strikes. So Destiny has this really cool thing called Nightfall Strikes, and usually it'll have us pull a fire team into a mission, and that mission will usually be a more difficult mission. Oftentimes we can set up our own modifiers, or in the olden days, the game would give us the modifiers, and oftentimes they would give us a time limit as well when we loaded into these missions, and we would get extremely good gear, and you could only do it once a week per character, which I don't know if they would want to do that for Marvel's Avengers, but given that Destiny only has 3 characters, you're only recycling the Nightfall 3 times a week at the most. Something like that would be really useful for Marvel's Avengers, because the Nightfall reminds us every week. It makes us think about Destiny. We're like, oh yeah, it's time. Yeah, let's get the boys together. Let's do the Nightfall because we need to get good loot. And yeah, this is our time to log on, at least once a week, bare minimum playing the game. Like, at least you have that. But in this game, it's, there are villain sectors, there are other things, but it's just not as good as the Nightfall content, which usually is a level, defeating enemies, get to the end, defeat a boss. But those bosses are incredibly well made and well designed. I think those fights are intriguing. Whereas the Abomination, I just can't get behind them. The Abomination and Taskmaster fights are not great. I much prefer these airships and spider walkers. More variation in enemies. I'm sure pretty much everyone has echoed this. Everyone's tired of fighting the aimbots. Why don't we fight more humanoid enemies? There's humans that work for AIM, and we see them show up every now and then. It's nice to throw some of them in. Why don't we fight the watchdogs more often as well? They are an enemy of the Inhuman Alliance. There's sort of this militia of goons that come out and try to enslave the Inhumans, try to capture them, and all that stuff. I think that would be really fun. So you already have enemy types in the game that you could be utilizing more, and of course, I would expect in the future that there would be more different types of enemies as we play on. Okay, so the next thing, and I thought this would be really cool. Here's an example with Black Widow. This is part of her iconic mission chain here. So this is a story that is pretty much unique to Black Widow. It follows her and her lore and stuff. And you have the same thing for the other characters, right? Thor has this adventure where he goes and there's references to Loki, and there's there's this group called the Woken that's trying to create their own Bifrost that they can use, but it's going to destroy the fabric of reality, all that stuff. These were really cool. I'd like to see these continue for each character. And of course, when you have new characters like Kate Bishop, Hawkeye, Black Panther, Spider-Man, whatever else, um, continue these missions and continue them as much as you can for all the characters, and allow us to replay these missions and to play them with friends and stuff. These are really good, and this is where you can add more gear for these characters, you can add more costumes for these characters connected to the iconic missions, and then you can also I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah, you can pretty much have more gear, more costumes, more adventures. You can stretch out their lore for these characters. Like with Thor, it looked like he was on the trail of Loki. So let's see a follow up to that at some point. I think that would be really cool. And so same with these other characters. You might see some follow ups to whatever they've done in their iconic adventures and getting their costumes, and then unlocking future costumes later on down the road. So that would be really cool. New characters goes without saying. I'm excited. It's been nice theorizing different characters. Kate Bishop once again, slam dunk. One of the best characters, and just so unique. And every character in the game thus far, you've captured them in incredible ways, and I'm just incredibly pleased. Every time I pick a character, I feel like I'm them. I do all the moves that I would want them to do based on what I've seen them do in comics and movies and such. And this game captures it in a beautiful way. New maps would be nice. You can use these existing areas. You can flesh out these maps. You can change things. You can go indoors in different areas. I think people are just getting sick of the aim labs. They are recycled pretty heavily. But like I said, I think a lot of the New York stuff, and if there's any stuff in, we did have in the campaign, we had stuff in San Francisco. Why don't we use more of that? Why don't we showcase some of these other maps? Even these here that Thor used, some of those were rather unique. Whereas it just seems like we're always in the forest, or we're in the snowy mountains, or we're in that bombed out area, and we're just going into an aim lab, and then we go in there and beat everybody up, and then we walk out, and that's it. So more content in that sense. And of course, people are excited for more content. I think when Destiny first started out, it was several months in between content drops, and then the game was barren. But the important part was to communicate that there's a roadmap, and then of course drip feed content throughout. And that's, I think, where Destiny has gotten good, is they'll have an expansion, but then they will have things that will continue on, storylines, gear to unlock, characters to meet, whatever it may be, uh, drip feeded out over several weeks and weeks and weeks after the DLC comes out. So that is my in essence, that is what I think Marvel's Avengers needs to adapt. Several things to do with the marketplace and keeping that sustainable, because that is going, that's very much in a game that is a live service game, and you're saying that all the expansions and additional characters are going to be free. You're going to have to make that money back in the marketplace. And then of course, you'll buy the challenge passes for each character, challenge cards. And then of course, just other constructive criticisms, new game plus, challenge card extensions, the roadmap, utilizing the maps you have different times of day. Boss fights just need to be better, something akin to the Nightfall Strikes in Destiny. More variation in enemies, continue the iconic missions for each characters, and just add more characters, more maps, more content. And I think the game is on a good path. And my final critique is just that we really do need the next gen versions need to drop at some point, because that's going to definitely revitalize. It's going to have a lot of people curious when they're picking up their new PS5 or Series X. They're going to say, oh, this is the next gen game. Okay, so I'm picking up Demon Souls, I'm picking up Spider-Man Miles Morales. I better grab Avengers too. That's another next-gen game. So, it's a no-brainer. Anyway, guys, thank you for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Shackcast. This was Marvel's Avengers Needs to Adapt. Take care, and we'll see you next time.